Time to find out, can you beat Fallout New Vegas as a lesbian? For this challenge, I'm only allowed to be a woman and use women companions to fight my battles for me. With all that being said, let's get this challenge started. Made sure that everything was in order, as then I picked everyone's favorite lesbian, Ellen, as then I tried the best that I could to make myself look like her. But Fallout New Vegas is very limited when it comes to character design because it is a very old game, so this is the best you're gonna get. After making Ellen, I then went to the character creation, and I focused on endurance, intelligence, and luck because, well, all the other skills will be completely useless. Luck was kind of useless too. Originally I wanted to go to a casino, but I never really did that. After that, I picked barter, speech, medicine, as then I went good-natured and wild wasteland. As in I set the difficulty to very hard. I wanted to be on hardcore mode, but if a companion died, it would die for real, and if I wasn't careful enough, I would fail the challenge. And I don't feel like taking care of them like I'm their mother, so I decided not to do that. As then I made the shortcuts through Scorpion's Reach, through the Hidden Valley Bunker. If you want to just make it to New Vegas, this is the fastest and safest way without dealing with death claws. Just make it past some scorpions. After that, I went to Veronica, as it was time to start the challenge. Now, for this to work, I'm going to have to do the Infinite Companions glitch, and to do that, you have to bring her to 3 different locations to get all of her dialogue. Now, there's a lot of different locations you go to, but this is what I do. First, I make sure to head to Camp McCarran, so then she says something about the NCR being a threat to the Brotherhood. After that, we got jumped along the way. Then, I brought her to Cottonwood Cove to talk about Caesar's Legion. To be honest, I wasn't really paying too much attention to the dialogue, but now that we got 2 dialogues, all we need is the 3rd one. So then I went to Vault 3. She kind of glitched out here for a while. She needed to kill all the fiends to say what she needed to say. So after waiting for her to kill all the fiends and then sitting around for her not saying anything, eventually she would say her dialogue. Now I'm got to tell you what to do. After she finally says her dialogue, what you do is you talk to her and she has something to tell you, but you make sure to say not now and send her away. After sending her away, you're supposed to talk to her. You see, she's supposed to have you bring her to the Brotherhood of Steel. But if you don't go there and bring her along anyway, you can get a companion. Now, I sent her away, got Lily as a companion, then I talked to her and told her to go to the Brotherhood herself, and then I picked her up. And this tricks the game into thinking she's not with you, allowing you to get 2 companions. And every time you want a new companion, you have to send her away, tell her you'll help, then say never mind, piss off, and then recruit her anyway, and you get 2 companions. Big bomb boom, bada boom. Understand? Good. Then I went to the Gunrunners to buy me some armor. After that, I decided to help Lily with her quest. You see, I want to complete every companion's quest line. Why? Well, it will make the video longer, give me more content, and I rarely do them in challenge runs. So, really, it's a win-win-win. And I found an oh baby super sleds to give to Lily. After that, the Nightkin weren't happy that we were keeping the stealth boys for ourselves, so I had my companions deal with them. And deal with them they did. As I ran around as the Nightkins tried to punch me to death, eventually Veronica managed to punch them to death. Apparently, Metal Fist beat Giant Mutated Fist. Lesson learned. After that, we went and meet Cassidy. Cassidy is probably one of the hardest companions to get, because you have to complete a long quest. It's not like hard isn't difficult, but hard isn't, it takes a while. As we would have to go back and forth to get her. Now, I thought I could convince her to sell her caravan, but I didn't have enough speech, so I had to do some quests. So I decided to go out and do some main quest to pass the time and get me some XP. So I went to Good Springs and had my companions deal with the powder gangers, which they did pretty well, of course. Then I went back to Cassidy and I finally had enough speech to convince her to sell the caravan and to join up with me. As then I decided it was time to do Cassidy's quest, because I have a special idea how to do it. As I got Cassidy as a companion, we went to these caravan trails and began to track them down. You see, someone has been killing all these caravans, and I know who it is, and you probably know who it is, but for the sake of this video, I'm not going to tell you who. As we did some more poking around and investigating, eventually we would find out it was the Van Graffs and the Crimson Caravan. So I decided to work for the Van Graffs and let in a suicide bomber to blow everyone up, because I've never really done that before. After watching the explosion, I then went in and saw all the fire and chaos, and I was able to loot the Van Graffs for all the information they had. effectively killing them off. I've never killed them like this, and I think that's a fun way to do it. And if any of you want to do the quest where you kill them, I recommend you try it. As in, I stole something in front of the Crimson Caravan, causing them to turn hostile, and letting my companions deal with them. Now that Cassidy's quest is taken care of, I decided to do more main story quests. I will get to Veronica's quest, but I wanted higher medicine before I attempted that, so it was time for me to do the main mission, as I let my group in to bring law back to Prim and get rid of the powder gangers there, as we needed a new sheriff, so I called on the NCR to help take over the town and watch over it. Hopefully they bring some girls with them, because California girls are unforgettable. After that, I went to Novak and began to learn about these ghouls causing problems, as I met with Jason Bright, the leader of the Bright followers, and then I went down to the basement to kill the Nightkin. Now, usually what I do is I do their quests, but instead of that, I decided to let my companions murder them because, well, why not? Gotta try something new every day, isn't that right? After letting my companions murder all the Nightkin down, I then went back up and told them that the demons were dead, as then it was time to get the rocket going so they can be launched into space. Don't see anything wrong or weird about that. Getting the spaceship parts weren't too hard. First, I had a desecrated dead body, and second, I had to convince an old woman to sell me the brain. Usually I just kill her and take it that way, but I was being nice today. After dealing with that, I then watched the Bright followers launch off into space as I decided to finally continue on Veronica's mission. As I went to meet with the Brotherhood, they were skeptical about me being an outsider, but I had Veronica, they cut me some slack, and I talked to Elder, not even going to try to pronounce his name, as then he sent me off to try to receive some lost tapes from the Brotherhood soldiers that are dead. Well, he didn't know they were dead, but spoiler alert, they're all dead. Luckily, I got some Brotherhood armor for that, though. I then had to talk to the Boomers. Now, I wasn't going to do their quest yet, but there was a dead Brotherhood soldier near their base, so I decided to go and reach them so I can just fast travel there anytime I wanted. And with the power of girl strength, I managed to make it over there. And I looted all the rest of the Brotherhood bodies, and Elder believed me, and he sent me to do more missions. But before that, I decided to go to Nelson to clear out the Legion camp there, because the Legion don't really treat women that well. And since I have an army of women, and I am a woman, I take a great offense to that. So, I decided to clear out the fort and watch my women tear them limb from limb. As it, Legion then tried to kill me with assassins not too long after, but me and my girls were easily able to take care of that. Also watched Lily fail to hit a guy for 10 minutes straight. Watch this. She charges after him, right? Misses. Charges after him. Misses. And he's walking so slow behind him. How do you miss 3 times? Eventually she got better and was able to kill him though. After killing the Legion assassins, it was time for me to continue on with the quest line, as I decided to help Camp Forlorn Hope and get them more supplies. After that, I then helped the injured soldiers there by healing them up. I was hoping that this would increase my reputation with the NCR enough to use their monorail I getting shot at, but that didn't really work out. Anyway, after that, I met with the Brotherhood scribes, as they all gave me the information they needed. After that, I went back to the Elder, and the Elder told me to do the final quest and gather all components for an air infiltration system so we can fix up the bunker, because everyone needs air. As then we went to vault collecting items, as I used my speech for Vault 3 to make them think I was a great con, so I can go in and take what they had without even causing any troubles. Remember kids, words, not violence. This will be important later in the video. As I collected each thing, eventually I went back to the Brotherhood, and they were shocked that I actually did it. They expected me to die, actually. Wow, great friends. As then it was time for me to join them. Before I can join them, I had to go to a radio signal and attach a device to it. So, we went up to Black Mountain Radio and had my companions fight some super mutants and some Nightkin. As my companions easily slaughtered my way through, eventually made it to Mistress Tabitha, and sadly I did not have enough science to fix her robot, so we had to kill her. Felt kinda bad, honestly, but my mother always said, no use in crying over dead bodies. As then after that, I met with the Elder, and he taught me how to use power armor. As now it's time to finish Veronica's quest. Now, if you do this glitch, once you finish Veronica's quest, you can't do the glitch anymore. You can only have the amount of companions that you have with you while the glitch is active, so be very careful about doing her quest. Anyway, we had to find Archimedes too, so we went around asking. I mean, I could just skip right on and get it, but I decided to do the quest how you're supposed to, because I never really done that. But to do that, I needed to go to the New Vegas gift shop, so it was time for me to ride the monorail. As I ran in and got onto the train, a few NCR soldiers shot at me, but my companions made easy work of them. As I rode the monorail to New Vegas, I then went back to Helios 1 after learning where it was at, and it was time to do the Lucky Sun quest to get Archimedes 2 active. I want to do an Archimedes 2 only challenge. I've tried that, but the gun just glitched, it wouldn't work. So if you have any way to stop this glitch, let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I just ran past all the security and used my girlfriends as cannon fodder. Ain't I so thoughtful? Made it to the power grid and sent all the power to Archimedes 2, and I can finally get the weapon that I can't use just for this one quest. I gotta make sure to blind you all though with the quest, because if I have to watch that, so do you. After blinding my audience with turning the power on, we went back and showed the Elder the weapon, but he was not impressed and wouldn't change anything. As then I talked to Veronica, as I convinced her to stay my companion. Then we were jumped by Brotherhood Knights, as I used speech to convince them to walk away. I had to do it twice for some reason, because the first time I didn't register. I don't know why, but now that Veronica's quest is completed, I can finally start with the main story. As then I went to Boulder City, and I talked the Great Khans into letting the hostages go. And then I talked the NCR to not betraying them, allowing the NCR and Great Khans to finally get along. As then I went to Benny and talked to him. My plan was to use speech for me to meet him alone, and I couldn't sleep with him because, well, I am a lesbian. So my plan was to meet him alone, tell him off, and have my girlfriends murder him. And it worked like a charm, as Benny was murdered by girls. But hey, at least girls got his hands on him before he died. As I watched them beat Benny to death, it was time for me to continue on with my mission and deal with my next loose end, Mr. House. You see, since Mr. House and the Legion require me to kill the Brotherhood, I wasn't gonna do that because I wanted Veronica to be my companion. So, I had to kill Mr. House as I stabilized the chamber. I meant to do the one where he lives, but I hit the wrong one on accident and he's shocked to death. And for killing Mr. House, I met with Crocker, because it's been a while since I got the NCR ending, and you can actually get the Brotherhood to side with them, so I decided why not. As then, I decided to do a side mission. I would go to Caesar's fort and refuse to give up my weapons, as I would have my girlfriends fight the way to the top. I wanted to kill Caesar for what he did to women, and I wanted to test how strong my companions really were, and this would be a good test run for the end of the game. I figured if they could kill Caesar and get rid of his guards, they should have no problem battling Lake Atlantis. And I was definitely wrong on that. More on that later. As my companions made it out, I went in and out of the tent for them to heal, and then I just had them destroy the legionaries. As watching my girls beat up on the Legion was quite nice and enjoyable. After killing the Legion, I then threw Caesar's body into fire to have him burned forever, just like he burnt the Burn Man. As then I went off to heal some boomers with my medicine, as I finally decided I would help out the boomers, so I can complete the quest and continue on with the story. As I listened to some nerd talk about some history I didn't really care about, I then asked questions and called him a nerd. After that, I then fixed some solar panels. Also, why does their opinion change after you just listen to some kid talk about their history? As I listened to some nerd talk, fixed some solar panels, saved some guy's life, I then was able to bring back the bomber. As I went to Pearl, and she agreed to help out the NCR and defend the dam. As then I went back to Ambassador Crockett, as it was time to get the Kings to stop messing with the NCR. As I used my speech to kiss the King's ass, I was allowed to go in and talk to him, as he gave me a quest. Now my plan was to do the King's quest, and then simply use the King's favor not to harass the NCR anymore. As then I went to Oris, and I agreed to hire him. As I called him out on his bullcrap after hiring him, I went back to the King and told him he was a fraud. After that, I then investigated with another matter. You see, some NCR soldiers have shot down some Kings, but it was a big misunderstanding. I was able to investigate and discover that the NCR sent a convoy to meet with the Kings, but it never got there. I told the King what was up, and he told me to get rid of this misunderstanding. As then I went to the NCR and was able to talk them down and explain the Kings didn't know what was going on. After talking things down, I then went back to the king and used my favor for him to make peace with the NCR. After finishing things up with the kings, I then met with Colonel, who told me to deal with the Great Khans, as I decided to go over and deal with them. But instead of killing them because I like the Great Khans, I decided to help them out and do the quest where they break their alliance with Caesar. As I talked Jack out of joining Caesar's Legion, I then went over and got the Slaver book, which wasn't too hard because all the Legion there were dead. After that, I then was able to talk Carl into dying because I made him talk crap about the Great Khans with my speech, and the Great Khans murdered him. After that, I told all my girlfriends to sit tight as I was going to enter Deathclaw Valley. I wanted them to fight through the Deathclaws, but I didn't want to risk it, so I decided just to take a stealth boy and to sneak through, because the Great Khans are past Deathclaw Valley. I don't know why they're past Quarry Junction, but hey, it is what it is, I guess. As then I talked to Melissa, and she agreed to not support the Legion. I then went to Papa Khan and told him to get the hell out of here, as him, the Great Khans, would leave Red Rock Canyon. After that, I went to investigate the Gomerdas, and the quest is pretty much the same every single time, so I'll gloss over most of it. As then I met with Kashino, and he told me how bad they were, so then I went over and lied to someone and told him I would report him to the NCR if he didn't do what I said and blew up the guns. I was hoping that because I sided with the NCR, it wouldn't count as a lie, but it still counts as a lie, sadly. As then I met with Big Saul and had my companions murder him, as watching a giant woman beat a man up is kind of hot. After that, I went to the Elder and told him that the NCR wants him dead, so he agreed to side with the NCR. After that, the Colonel was a B-word and wasn't very happy with letting the Brotherhood live. After that, I met with Ranger Grant and we agreed to save the president. I found an NCR soldier dead, so I would go up and talk to the man who killed him and pretend to fall for his trap, so then he would attack me and my companions would kill him. After that, it was finally time to start the battle for Hoover Dam, as I met with General Lee Oliver and he dragged me into the dark depths of hell. Then my companions fought through some legionaries and made some quick work of them. Really, what this was is just me running throughout the dam and letting my companions deal with the legionaries. To be fair, this entire challenge is me running and letting my companions do the work. As then I used my science to turn off the water flow to stop the legion from coming in. After that, I went down and changed the water pressure, murdering all the legionaries in the pipe who were trying to come in and attack the dam. Then we made it up to some NCR Rangers and I used my speech to convince them to join me in the charge. As me, the NCR Rangers, and my companions all charged in to fight the legionaries. Well, I guess minus me. As we dealt with the legionaries, we then moved into the camp, as I waited for each legionary soldier to move to us and for us to wipe them down. My plan was to use them to wipe out the legate and all of his soldiers because, well, they've proven very strong so far, but you will not believe it. Apparently, waves and waves of legionary soldiers were enough to deal with my companions, because no matter how many stim packs I gave them, they would eventually fall unconscious and I would die. I tried this a few times. Eventually, I tried to hide and hope that my companions would eventually keep standing up, but the Legion always found me and shot at me. And I couldn't talk Legolandus to fight me one-on-one because I had too high speeds in barter and I couldn't fail. So, I decided to talk my way out of it. Kind of failing the challenge, kind of not. But then I remembered something. Ellen was a kind, loving woman, and she would not want me to hurt this man. It's time to show forgiveness and compassion instead of war and violence, as we let Legolandus go and start a new path of compassion and love, proving that yes, you can, in fact, beat Fallout New Vegas as a lesbian.